clobbering time.
Consider the profound emotional experience of a truly great film. Then forget it, sweetheart.
It's the end of the 20th century, and mankind has blown its wad.
We're going to Frogtown.
Hell comes to Frogtown.
Greetings and salutations, everyone. Welcome to Talk Card. It's been a bit of a hiatus with different things happening in the real world, but man, it is so great to be back with you. Hopefully, you're having a great week. Things have got off to a good start. With me, as always, these great co-hosts. How are you, my brothers? Stone Loki, man, what's going on?
Not much. Getting ready for that trip. Getting ready for the trip next week. Going to Florida. Having some fun and some sunshine. Catching some rays on the beach and having a good time.
Taking the walk, taking the vows. Can't wait for you, brother. It's going to be awesome. So that's great to hear, man. Yeah. So let's talk a little Froggy first. Ironcaster, my brother, what's going on?
Oh, I've been ready to hop into this one.
I bet the puns could be very common for sure. So, but no, it's been great. It's been some crazy stuff happening in the real world, but yeah, it's going to be back on schedule. I don't have confirmation of our guest for next week, so the door could be open for you. If you guys are out there, you would like to join us for next week. We're talking about Beetlejuice, so we'll be doing that next week. Loki will be out of pocket the next couple weeks, I believe. You're not going to do the show next week, right? You're going to be packing and ready to go, right?
Just Monday and Tuesday. So I will be there Monday and Tuesday.
Oh, okay. So you will be with us next week. Okay. The week after is the 2 weeks after that, the 10th.
I won't be with you guys. Tuesday morning I'm going to do the show, but after that, all bets are off because we're
okay. Gotcha. Okay, cool. That's what I thought. That's what I had written down was that you were out the next few weeks. So cool. All right. So next week will be Beetlejuice, and then a week after that, we have any Scooby-Doo night. So Zombie Island and Abomination AJ is set to be with us. He's an animation guru, so we'll be happy to have him in the house as our special guest. So yeah, so it's gonna be fun. And yeah, hell comes to Frogtown, baby. So let's say hey to this wonderful chat, holding everything down. He's the mod. He's the goat himself, Chris Persia. How are you, my brother? Hail to the triumvirate of Talking Hard. Hail Pops, Loki, and Ironcaster. Hail to you in the Great White North, my friend. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for all you do. And as Matthew McConaughey would say, all right. You got my internet back, and I'm ready for some hard talks with the triumvirate of Talking Hard. We're happy to have your internet back up. We definitely having some storms in the south, so hey, bear with us. Some sweet tea. Well, you got to have your sweet tea, especially if Loki's going to be coming to the south. He's a Texan, of course, but Floridians, we like our sweet tea. Lady Mrs. in the house. Thank you so much for being here. Awesome. Great to see you. Great to have you hang out with us. So, yes, the puns are coming. Yes, Ironcaster is ready to be jumping. Yes, indeed. So,
I think my commentary is riveting.
It is riveting. Matt says, hell comes to Popstown. That would actually be a fun shirt, actually. I should probably jot that down. Should I not? Yes, that's kind of fun. I don't have anything to write on, so I'll try to remember that guy. Help me remember that, Matt. Pat says, Pops is back in the New York groove. Well, I don't know about the New York groove. More like the still somewhat hot Florida groove. But yeah, stuff been going on. But you know what? Going to be trying to piece together some content. Different things are going on, but it's kind of a fun little movie to kind of jump back to. Hey, look, PJ's in the house. Hey, brother, Pops and friend. Thank you for hanging out with us, my friend. Awesome, great to have you. So, Loki, you have talked about this film many, many times, but let's recap for anybody who does not know the backstory and how we ended up choosing this film and your love of this film and the VHS history of this film for you in your life, my friend.
Oh man, so me and my friends love this movie. Why? Because it had skin. Oh, so glorious skin. And when you're a little 13 or 14-year-old, there's nothing better than watching an action movie with a wrestler that has skin in it. So one of the first things I did when I got a job was I bought this movie because I wanted to watch it whenever I wanted without having to worry about it being on cable, so we could see the skin and it wasn't edited for television by USA or TNT or whatever, because we wanted to see the skin in the movie. So yeah, I went to Blockbuster and I said, how much for a copy of Hell Comes to Frogtown? And they said, that'll be $135 and change. And I said, what? And they said, it's an out of print VHS, because yeah, we had VHS then. We didn't have DVD yet. And I said, you know what? I just got my first job. Order it for me. I blew half my first paycheck on Hell Comes to Frogtown. So yeah, that's how much I used to love this movie.
That is so crazy. This film definitely does, shall we say, reek of toxic masculinity, right? It's totally like the fantasy story of kind of like Omega Man with more of like a little bit more TNA, right? The last man on Earth. He's the fertile dude. All the women are after him. It's crazy adventure, shoot 'em up kind of thing. So yeah, fun stuff. Ironcaster, what is your you have a history with this film? Is this the first time you've seen it? Is this like a Ironcaster library edition? What's the story for you, my friend?
So this is a movie I had heard about sort in this about the last decade or so, from the ages of the uprise of the internet movie critic. I think it was people like some of the Channel Awesome people were talking about this movie at the time. It was kind of this really goofy movie, and I was like, I'll get around to seeing this at some point. And we'll eventually kind of track it down. And it is right up my alley. It's all the goofiness. You've got a bunch of silly one-liners. You've got about enough of a budget to go ahead and get like two rubber masks that are two really good rubber masks. And then you can have whatever wasteland set you can find.
Yeah, it was. So it took me back. I don't remember when I saw this film. It would have been on VHS. So I'm going to go in the 90s when and just would have been one of these cheesy, cheeky films that I probably watched, and just I got to be honest, I felt like I was watching it again for the first time. I only remembered pieces of it. So we'll have some fun commenting on some different scenes or some different elements. I don't even know, Ironcatcher, but what do we have to share with people with something like this? Because there's not. I mean, like, we could do the trailer, I guess, because I don't own a copy. So how should we share some different elements with the folks at home?
Well, I do happen to have some screenshots, but but the one of the few sites I found that has just like entire like that has more than like 3 screenshots. We're gonna have to make do with a little bit of kind of impromptu.
Fair enough.
Make do with what I can.
All right. Jedi Bill's in the house. Hey, Jedi Bill. Bill, I hope you're doing well. Hope things are going okay. Awesome. So, I bought 4 episodes of New Outer Limits to see Alyssa Milano naughty parts, and I have since very much gotten over my crush of her. Still have the DVD. Good show. Cool. All right. Yes, I know that they can ruin what are very important moments for us. I will say this too with the naughty part conversion, or the naughty part legend, right? I know, Loki, you had to have laughed out loud, as I did, when in Stranger Things they made a reference to Fast Times of Ridgemont High.
Yes.
And it was like, oh, yes. Yes. All guilty teen boys from that era. Yes, we all know. Speaking of guilty teen boys, Zach's is in the house. You say it once, you say it twice. Third time's a charm. Zach's in the house. So yeah, hail to you, my brother. Roddy Piper and Sandala Bergerman. What a cast. Yeah. It's just a fun ride. I agree with your assessment, IRONCASTer. We'll get to some moments for sure. I will say this, and this is not the only film, and I cannot remember what we've watched recently. We watched something else. So this would have been at home with Mrs. Pops. I kid you not. They also had like the cheap dog chain collar. So it wasn't even like they actually got a chain that you couldn't break. That's literally like a cheap pet store, medium to small dog chain. That's not even a big one. It's like, wow, this was like uber low budget. Like, this is crazy. I will say this too with the mask. I know, IRONCASTer, you brought it up briefly. Maybe we'll have some shots of the mask. One thing that they do well that other films have not, they added like moisture to the heads. So there's a lot of scenes where they look wet. They try to make them look very frog-like with their limited movement and things like that. But at least they tried to give it like mucousy skin and things like that. That all I liked very much. The eye patch, though, wasn't a fan of the eye patch. Why do we do that? I don't know. I wish they would have just made a different colored eye. I wish they would have just had like an eye, remove an eye, give it a different colored eye or something like that. But that's just me.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that. Just kind of like have like one like dead eye.
Yeah, just something different. The patch actually become like distracting for me. Like I just, and I mean, obviously there is a reason they do it because they're trying to, make the characters look different because, like you said, they only have a couple of masks, so they're trying to do some different things. Okay, I know this is cheesy. I'll go to Loki. You like defending the film anyway, so I actually will compliment the film. They didn't do a horrible job with the masks and the dialogue. I thought most of it was actually okay.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about this from like a present day Fallout perspective, you can totally dig what they're doing. This is like Fallout before Fallout. So you've got the mutants, you've got the creatures, you've got, well, we blame you. If you hadn't have nuked the entire planet, we wouldn't be in the position we're in today. And they even talk, and they've got like, accents, and oh, look at me, I'm the smarmy frog in the suit. And yeah. Look, he's got a fez. The wonderful bastard has a fez. Who doesn't love that?
A fez and skin goggles.
So I wanted to look this up. So Steve Wang, he did the special effects. He said, this is a quote. He says he did it for $12,000. Again, folks, you have to remember 1980s. They got the eyes to blink. They got the mouth to move, head movement. It really isn't as horrible as it seems for such an uber low budget film of its time. So I don't know. What do you think, IRONCASTer? What was your? Is this the first time you saw it? I'm sorry. I know you think. I think you said it.
I kind of ramble off. No, I've seen this a couple times now. This is a movie that I will pull out for friends because I'm like, dude, you have got to see Hell Comes to Frogtown. I am totally gonna wind up running like a tabletop game like based on elements from this. Like I'm gonna pull this into my game. This is research material for me.
Perfect. Yeah, this is the kind of film that needs some attention for some fun, some cheesy fans. So, and by the way, for those of you at home don't know, this same, I want to say the same promotional material, interviews or whatever they've done to speak on this. The rumor is that the original script had a lot more raunchy humor, and that actually turned off different actors that like Daniel Stern was supposed to be part of it. You're like, we're going to change a whole bunch of stuff. Dude's a lot more buttoned up for the reputation, so that didn't fly. But by the way, let me pause real quick. With Penny said at a Bible class. Catch y'all later. Penny, I hope you're doing well. Seems kind of odd talking about
Penny.
The Bible. And
hello.
As a certain captain said, fezzes are cool. Amazon has the poster. Here we go. I'm sure it's a reprint. Yeah, I'm sure it is too.
And I believe at the moment, Vinegar Syndrome has this available on Blu-ray, so you can get that nice like premium kind of treatment. It's those little boutique shops like that are going to help hold these movies up because there's no way in hell like New Line Cinema or whoever has the right whoever company has the rights to it now would go out and do it on their own. Like, this is such a niche title that unless you're like going through the back catalog of like Roddy Piper films, like you're not going to go to this one like directly and intentionally, unless you're us, of course.
Yeah, you know what? It's the kind of thing that needs to be kept alive, so to speak, kept alive. So, yeah, we'll talk more about that later, I think. The title of the film is even funnier if you know Roddy's character's name. Oh yeah, very much. No, everything about this kind of lends itself to having fun. So, I will say in a cringe moment, Loki, you can feel free to take issue with Pops. I wish we could watch these in real time because I know Loki would pause and he would be watching my reaction right before the very first ribbit.
Wait, I have that picture captured.
I bet you do.
Right here.
That was my face. Yeah.
He's a stop, slowly turn to Loki. Like, seriously?
Yeah, that was me. Like, oh, really? Like, yeah. It was fine without the ribbit. They had to do the ribbit. But yeah, so there gets a lot of love for this. So but no, they set up a fun little apocalyptic story. They actually made it very believable. I thought actually in the grand scheme of nuclear war and sterile humans and the rise of some sort of mutant race and that kind of thing. So there we go. I thought it was all fine. And I will say that I felt like Roddy Piper's performance in this was like from wrestler to campy actor, and then They Live, like we've already talked about, right? So you can see him actually like trying to, I don't want to say deliver lines better, but he seemed like he was growing into this sort of like cheesy action role and stunts and different kind of things. Like I thought it was progressing pretty well. So Zach's is talking about Roddy Piper grew up in his neck of the woods. Dad partied with him a few times back in the day. So the story goes. Well, Zach, we need to hear that story. So is my mic not working right? Okay.
It does sound a little off.
Well, it might be. Well, I'll check that while you guys are doing your thing. So,
so I guess Loki. This is kind of another movie in sort of that vein of the post-apocalyptic movies that we've been kind of going through lately. Like we just went through Robot Jocks last time. This is kind of right in that same vein.
Robot Jocks. It's clobbering time. That's right. Yeah, it's that ball out. It's that ball out kind of genre where the world's come to an end. War never changes. Yeah, but there's skin in this war. Go ahead. Sorry.
I do kind of find it kind of funny that both these movies are having this similar sort of propaganda of like have kids, repopulate, as they say here.
Making babies is our business, our only business. And they need fertile women, men and women to repopulate the species. Indeed, they do. Lots of shaking going on. Hell comes to Frogtown. Yeah.
Again, it's clear that the teenage boy fantasy would be all in with this sort of situation. So, yeah, I get that. So hopefully the mic's a little bit better. I don't know. We'll see. What do you think?
Sound fine.
Okay. Sounds good. Every now and again, technology doesn't want to be my friend. So, Roddy was young. Yeah, when he passed, he was still in his 50s. Yeah, man, wrestler passed early. Yeah, the wrestlers live hard, die young. So, making babies is our business, our only business. Yes, it was. Again, I have to admit that there was a lot of like humor that I was enjoying in rewatching this film.
Indeed. It's a type of comedy of humor. It's really crass and crude stuff that we don't get today. Well, not in the same. It's not in the same kind of way, anyhow.
Yeah, and I think, well, first off, obviously the entire concept of the Last Man on Earth thing has a completely different spin, because we had that show that was done. There was a comic book series, Why is the Last Man? They made it into a Hulu show. It was extremely toxic new feminism nonsense. It was a horrible show, unbearable. And I thought of this in comparison to that, of how they lean right into every woman wanting to be with Roddy. Like it was totally a really interesting dynamic of, even the tough girl, right? She's like, well, I'm sterile, but I want a little piece of you. Like, it was just great. The contrived cod piece is, I mean, I know the man's passed, but I know if we got to interview him, I'd be asking him, so where is the cod piece, Mr. Piper? Where is the cod piece? We all want to know who got the cod piece. So, yeah.
Yeah. And of course, we've got to, let's not stay on this too long. I don't want to be stared at as junk for more than I need to.
Yeah. Matt is talking again, echoing what Loki and others will tell you. They had their reasons for watching this film, and it would be Miss Bergman among others. So yeah, yes, indeed. So again, you did a rewatch, Loki. What was some of your memories that were kind of like taking you back to going back to this film, basically 30 something years later?
So I totally forgot because I haven't watched this in probably. I had to be, like I said, I had the VHS. I never got it on DVD. I haven't watched it in probably 20 years. I totally forgot that the blonde is the same woman that played in Conan the Barbarian. She played his love, Valyria.
Right. That's what Matt was making reference to. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's funny how well they're gonna shake their butt here. They're gonna try and attract him here. It's a totally different kind of movie, and you can't make this movie today in any way, shape, or form.
No.
You could not make this movie.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. Ironcaster, what was some of your thoughts, especially in this first phase of, we're going to put an exploding cod piece on the last man alive so we can control his breeding schedule and have it linked to her earring. And again, I set aside the typical Pops nitpicking for a film of this magnitude. I know it knows what it is. It took itself serious. I didn't have to try to pretend. Like, it was fine. I understood what the rules were. They told me, and they move on, and then they take their rules seriously. So to be honest, in some ways, it is a lot more consistent and enjoyable for me than other films that kind of drive all over the road. So as silly as it is, at least they played by their own rules and took it seriously.
And that, I think, is probably one of the things to be able to. That's one of the key things to be able to appreciate with a movie like this, is that it's not trying to be something greater than it is. It's not trying to turn to the camera and do a wink and a nudge. Yeah, sure, we get the cheesy one-liners, but that's sort of the time. That's of the genre of the decade. But it's treating itself serious. It's trying to sell you on the fact that this world exists. And, there's something to kind of enjoy with that. I will say I didn't really like Sandal Bergman.
Mm-hmm.
In the role. Like, she doesn't really kind of work for me with this.
I don't know how to say Sentinella, the other lady. I don't know. I'm not familiar with her work at all. She did it for me way more than the other lady did. Yes. I mean, I was more like, I want to see more of her. She seemed, and I don't mean that just because, there is a booby scene, because it's more of like, she had like a lot more of a charisma. And she seemed, I don't know. Again, it's part of the story arc, right? Because obviously Spangle's supposed to be kind of snooty and whatever, and she's a love interest. But this lady, actually, I don't know. I was having a ball with her character too. She was more fun in some ways, but
like, I look at her, I think American Psycho or Gavin Newsom.
Wow, I don't even know what to say to that. That's even what I don't even know.
With that slick back hair.
Okay. We're going to move on from that. So I don't even know what to say to that. We're just going to bottle that up and just keep moving. Because thank you, Pat, for throwing down a link to Loki show. And Why the Last Man. I don't know if I said it wrong, but thank you for that. So the show is just a lot of fun. I love the fact that they just sort of like have this no nonsense turret gun mounted to this really cheesy, cheeky pink van. Like, what? I don't even know what is happening. Is how I felt. Like, oh my gosh, I just.
Well, to be fair though, what would you expect from this matriarchal government. It's like if you're gonna do something to try to have a memorable vehicle, it's like yeah, you're gonna have a pink car. Like
Okay.
I'm not getting in that.
the only thing you're not getting in that is Lucky.
I don't know. The way these ladies act in this film, he could have gotten lucky anywhere, everywhere, because that guy is just they don't lean away from what they are. Again, this is the positive thing about this film is it is what it is, it knows what it is, and it just leans into it for that experience. There's no like silly and there's so many awkward moments with his character, like, oh come on, like real like I really liked that. I thought that was actually fun. So yeah. Ironcaster nearing 500 subscribers. Oh, if you are not subscribed to this, man, please consider. Oh, man. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. Nas is in the house. My Watto brother. Yeah. Good to see you. Good to see you. So,
Hey, what do you know?
yeah. Yes. That's good. Watto, actually. Yes. And again, I want to point out, because I know we'll get there eventually, is the crazy old miner's name is Looney Tunes. So a film of this magnitude that has a character named Looney Tunes, it literally felt like, I got to be honest, this literally feels like one of these cheeky scripts that I wrote with my friends in college. Like we were still in college, like drinking weekend, writing, coming up with silly, crazy stuff. And it was like that kind. Oh no, your character is going to be called Looney Tunes. And it was like, ha ha, see what I did there? And it's like, this film is all about all that.
Well, the thing is, like, I can actually see names like that kind of coming about. Like where I work, we have a guy we call Pepsi. That's just like everyone just calls the guy Pepsi because that's like for years and years ago, that's like all he would drink. He doesn't drink Pepsi, but everyone just calls him Pepsi.
All right. Okay. All right.
Like these types of nicknames do kind of come about natural.
Okay. All right. So the first part of the film is more of us just setting the stage. Then we have a little bit of the journey time, which is what we're going to have here, because now it gives us an excuse to set up, the machine gun that's on top of this, the fact that he tries to get away. He fakes having to go to the bathroom, and obviously the thing starts beeping, so it may explode. It sets all that up. So we end up with all of the different rules, all the different world building, and some of the relationship dynamics and the tension that he has. So like that. So yeah, I like that. Again, this is 90 minutes too. They pack a lot in 90 minutes. This is not some modern film that just wanders around and wastes a lot of time. They get to it. Chip, chop, chip. Let's do this. Have some fun.
This was one of my favorite gags in the movie where he tries to go his own way, but then forgets that, oh wait, they have a proximity shock collar on me.
Beep.
So then they drive off in the car and he's like, fine. He starts kind of looking away. And then the chastity belt starts to beep on him. He's like, oh, he has to chase after them.
My brain hurts a little because I'm like, it says he has a flap, so he can flap it open. So if he can flap it open, I mean, would it hurt him still when it goes off? I don't know. Anyway, but it's played for gags and it's set up well. And again, it's very consistent. They come up with what their rules are going to be, and that's what we're going to live with, and that's what they go with. So, anyway, so they have to go into this place called Frogtown, which is basically the mutant zone with these frog-like mutants, and that's where they have kidnapped some fertile, I guess is the best way to say it, fertile females. They got some fertile women there, so they got to get him in there, rescue these women, do what he's got to do along the way. So that's it. Again, if you're the last man on Earth, I'm not quite sure why we would risk him doing this mission, but hey, we're going to do it. We're going to have some fun doing it. So,
there was a couple of decent jokes in here they were kind of working off where Sandy Bergman's character is supposed to be like, oh, she's government trained in seduction, but she's kind of bad at it. It seems like they were kind of playing into it purposely. Like she's not very good at it, but she's like officially trained in it, so she's gonna like kind of come out of the tent and try to seduce Sam, and he looks over and he's like, first you try to shock me, then you try to seduce me. She's like, oh, I'm just trying to keep you excited.
Yeah, it keeps your count high. If I keep you excited, keep working you a little bit, and they play it as a progression through the film because they're going to call back to that later on when she's trying to be seductive to the Frog King, for the lack of a better, I don't know his name. I'm like, okay, whatever. The 3 snake dance, which I'm like, oh Lord, dear Lord, help me. What's Loki got me into? The freaking 3 snake dance, and I couldn't remember because I knew it was coming. And she's dancing. I'm like, they're going to show me 3 snakes, aren't they? They're going to show me 3 snakes, aren't they? I literally was sitting there like mortified, like, oh Lord, oh dear Lord, oh dear Lord. So fortunately, I wasn't traumatized that much, but it got there close. So I will be honest too, man. I had a lot of fun. The fact that this is like a practical film, it's shot on locations. They just do like little things here and there to create this little world that they're in. I had a good time with it, man. I don't know. I guess I've just gotten to the point now where everything is so digital and just so, it's just, it's so manufactured, I guess is the best way to say it. You know what I mean? Whereas this felt like, I was there on the movie ranch. So
yeah, you could totally buy it. Like, yeah, this is just some like manufacturing warehouse in probably like Idaho that they were able to like go and get a couple shots of.
I think it's all filmed in different areas around California. I'm assuming based on the budget and stuff like that. But yeah.
Still,
there's lots of trivia about this movie too, man. We'll have to get to that at some point. So the Pat's cutting up a little bit about Pepsi, just so you guys are clear. Yeah. What some folks drink, they run out of Dr. Pepper. We don't drink Pepsi. First off, I don't run out of Dr. Pepper, for those of you asking at home, because yes, that's all I drink is a Dr. Pepper product. But however, if I were stuck at a restaurant, in more than one occasion, I have said, yeah, I'll just have water. And they always look at you very perplexed.
Anybody in the Deep South also knows that Coke is everything. So Coke means everything. So when you go over to someone's house and you ask for a drink, it's, hey, you got anything to drink? Yeah, I got Coke. I've got blah, 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 but everything is Coke. Hey, you got a Coke? Yeah, what kind of Coke do you want? I want a Dr. Pepper. Hey, you got any Coke? What kind of Coke you got? I got a Pepsi. Coke is everything. So Coke is the name for all soda pops. We don't say soda pop because only
we don't say soda pops.
Guys
we don't say pop.
Pops.
Yeah, we don't call it a pop. Can I get a pop? I'm like, what? Yeah.
Yes. That's normal, sane people call it pop up here.
No.
Yes, I have the sticker for this too.
No, only limp-wristed
pop.
Yeah.
Some sort of weird northern thing. I don't even know what. I think you've waited. You've had this done just for this exact emergency.
Like we're gonna start the pop wars.
The pop wars. You're gonna be put in timeout. I'm telling you right now. Talking smack about my soda.
It won't be a problem if you use the right name.
Oh, I use the right name. I drink Dr. Pepper. So, yeah, good location shots. I agree. Yeah. So, yeah, Ironcaster is saying, yeah, he's close to Canada. Hence, Chris is saying that Ironcaster is too close to Canada. Hence the reason he calls it pop. I know they do it wrong up there. Great White North and A. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, location shots, nice little pickup shots, things like that are great. So, yeah, cool. All right, so we move quickly. We have the nighttime sequences where we have the silky dancing and the shots that Loki paused on. We don't want to get too obsessed about talking about, but
yeah, we'll give you a shirtless Sam Hell.
There we go. Sure, we have a shirtless scene. Yes, that's our shirtless scene. Yeah, Roddy Piper. Which, by the way, one of my favorite moments in the entire thing is near the end when they're fighting. I'll forget if I don't say anything, guys. Is Roddy Piper literally does a wrestling move and picks the guy up and throws him down. And I'm just like, oh, that is so much fun. I want more of that. So, yeah, that was great. That's one of my favorite moments of the whole movie was he goes full on Roddy Piper. So, again, I couldn't the film enough to know what I've gotten myself into. So, I was just like, oh, Lord, what is happening?
They drugged the girl and he's like, what? I'm not. And they're like, no, you need to anyway. And it's all like swept under the rug after that. and
Yeah.
everything's
Making babies.
totally
Making the babies. She's ovulating. Now's the time. He's like, but I don't even what? No. Yeah. Yeah. It was very I can see 2020. I don't understand how this film has not become topic of discussion. I think it's great. It makes people feel uncomfortable, which is even better.
There was also a line at the very start of the movie where they were like, "Yeah, we tracked down Sam Hill by a string of pregnancies across the country."
That's true.
Like,
That's true. There is right. They tracked him down that way. That's right. It's so funny. I'm like, oh man, those little subtleties like that were great. Yes, I agree. What are you saying in chat? Chat's talking about soda pop, so we're just gonna keep going. Ignore those people. Ignore their craziness. So it moves pretty well, and then of course when we get to the end of oh yeah, this is the chain. Oh geez, the chain is so distracting for me. She keeps the glasses on for part of it and stuff. I was like, oh geez, this is totally like teenage boy fantasy stuff. It was like, oh gosh, okay, yeah. Walking across the California plains and hills and through the valley. My girl on a dog leash.
all to get to Frogtown.
Welcome to Frogtown. Good location shots. I love it. We enjoy that. Anyway, so then once we get into Frogtown, there was like mutant frogs everywhere. So all sorts of different mutant frogs. Mutant frog world where we have like a bar scene. We have different conflict of what's going to happen. I'm reading the frog prince. See what you guys did there. Yeah. It's one of our crazy humans. I don't remember anything particularly interesting about any of them. I thought all this was just fine, just moving along pretty well. They at least tried to give him a different type of person and stuff like that. So here's our mask. And I know that you talk about it a lot, Loki. So I felt very Howard the Duck with the mask.
Yep.
Very
And the
Howard
costume.
the Duck. Yeah, very like there could have been duck boobies and I wouldn't have been surprised. I was like, oh, dear Lord, I forgot about the mask. And her mask is definitely less interesting than the creature, more like the villain masks, the male guys who are just more like allowed to be more grotesque. So they like, I guess, snot and slime and whatever. Hers is definitely like, just more of a hardcore mask, not a lot of, nothing really dynamic. Oh,
Yeah, they were definitely trying to kind of lighten it up a bit for the makeup on her, so they kind of keep a more, I guess, feminine frog.
I don't even know what to say about our frog situation here. Yes, yeah, Pat.
No, don't worry. My favorite character is right here.
The dude in the suit.
Yeah,
a little leisure suit Larry going on here with this guy. Yeah,
Mr. Fez.
Yeah.
Mr. Fez.
Yeah, the Fez. The Fez was. It's like it's one of those things. Like, well, how are we gonna tell them apart? Well, we got this Fez. Put that on the guy. Can he not wear a Fez? Well, I guess he can wear a Fez. He's wearing a Fez, boss. Yeah. Can you at least have a shirt that matches the Fez? All right, we got this one. What about this white jacket? Yeah. It's coming together. Oh, Lord.
Yeah, for good measure, let's give him some swim goggles.
Yeah, well, he's got to be able to see properly. There's a story there, right? There's a story. There's a backstory for sure.
He's also like the owner and proprietor of the bar.
Yeah, right.
So it's supposed to be a big old like uranium mine that all the prospectors and the mutant miners and basically all these wanderers kind of come in and go into to start kind of collecting all the uranium ore for, I guess, trading.
Yeah, I guess this is a trading outlet, trading place. So that's kind of why it become so significant in their little area, what they're going for here. So, Yeah. See, Matt's talking about it being his third or fourth film. I don't remember exactly which one it is. It's right before They Live. They Live comes out right after this. Like I said, there is a little bit of a progression. You can see in his talent and what he's trying to do and what he's trying to accomplish and things like that. So, yeah, Roddy Piper, man, lots of WWF. They Live, bodies, yeah. Oh, the frogs. They just like went to the prop department and just grabbed a bunch of crap, man.
I think they're like making do with like the hood ornaments off cars for like necklaces at one point.
Trust me, they just literally had this crap in prop departments, or they just refurbished things and got stuff from like a local Goodwill and things like that. That's what they did. And they've got, like you said, 3 masks or something.
Yeah, that's like one of the first ones you see at the start of the movie. His head is completely covered, so they didn't have the budget to get a mask together for him.
Yeah,
they couldn't afford like the 4th or 5th mask.
Loki, you can come clean anytime if you want to admit that you have worn this as a Halloween costume or surprised somebody or anything I should know about. It's okay. This is the time. This is the time.
I did dress up like Roddy Piper in this movie, with the jacket and the frilly shirt, and got it all dirty before I did it. I think I was 15. I was 15 when I did it, but I never dressed up like a frog. Nope.
Oh, this year, of course.
I could do it this year, but I don't think I have enough time to get the costume ready.
Okay.
Not with everything else going on. So maybe next year. Maybe next year we can figure it out.
Yeah, we'll each come as a Roddy Piper movie role.
I have to admit, your face swap as Roddy Piper in They Live is quite disturbing. Like it's just very much like it. Ironcaster very much looks like a stunt double. It's quite eerie. It's definitely something. So, yeah, I don't even know what's on this guy's head. Like there were moments where I kind of paused. Like I'm like, what are they? And I think, again, you just kind of have to me, I felt like I just needed to roll with it. And I don't know that I really ever held it against the film, because the film is going for that post-apocalyptic, hold the world together with like duct tape and bubblegum wrappers and uranium and mutants and chaos. Like there was no real rules. Like, well, all right, it's just going to be stuff. Because you have these 2 guards and I don't even know what kind of mask they have. They have some sort of knockoff masks. They definitely look different. And they're huge guys.
I don't know if it's like the implications, like the longer you're here, the more froggy you get.
Well, there's radiation. They mentioned that multiple times. Like they give him a beer. He's like, a real beer. And Piper's chugging and he goes, we found it in the cabin. It was only slightly radiated.
Right. I remember that. Yep.
So everything around them is radiated.
Radioactive frog stuff. That's great. So yeah, all this stuff works pretty well. Lots of different like costuming and props and location shots and things like that. Yeah, the chainsaw scene with the eye patch. Oh boy. I gotta tell you, you're one weird dude. Yeah.
Yeah. A couple of these lines, they were written like just for throwing into a trailer. You are one dude.
Well, I think the funny part was like, all of the talk about how to get the cod piece off, how to keep it from exploding and blowing its crotch up, and all these different things are happening. This mutant frog's going to use a chainsaw. And I'm like, wait, and then it works. And you're like, wait, it didn't blow up. And they do the things that you at home are thinking should happen. Like I actually, again, I don't know, Loki, why do I feel like the crazy person taking a movie like this serious whenever I have other things that are worth multi-millions of dollars that don't take themselves seriously? I don't know how that sounds ridiculous, but that's how I felt watching this film.
Because it's fun. It's fun. It's never meant to be taken too seriously. It's fun. it's like the opening of Fallout. War never changes. Well, it's not meant to be like, oh, suffering and hellish landscape, and it's an 80s action adventure sci-fi wrapped all in one blanket. And you're just supposed to have fun with it and enjoy it. And look at the skin. There's skin in this movie, Pops, and a lot of it. So that's one of the things you're supposed to like about it is the skin.
They knew what their audience was going to be. They knew what their audience was going to be.
And they played to that audience perfectly. So
I really like this guy's frog mask, by the way. This is probably my favorite mask.
Yeah, there was a couple times where I'll go to it and I think it's an actual frog.
That part's actually pretty good. Filmed about the same time. So here's the thing with this film. This film was actually filmed in like 3 weeks. So look in the trivia, guys. You guys would chat or look it up real quick. It was filmed like in less than a month. I remember. I know. We've had to put this film off a couple of times. Whatever it was, I looked it up, and it was like 2 or 3 weeks. So, it wasn't 2 weeks. That'd be like 14 days. It's around three weeks to a month or so. So they had plenty of time to get him another job, and he's on They Live. So. But yeah, this head mask, this was a pretty cool mask. So got to give a little bit of props to that one, because that one I actually liked a lot.
It's like they had the money. They're a little bit minimal on the effects, but so they were able to really put the money into the makeup work and the prosthetics for these masks. And then they had to go and basically shoot the entire movie around that. It seems like.
They probably started with that, right? So to get the film made, they probably just, knew a guy. You go over here, and I didn't look up the special effects people, so I mean that would be part of it. It's like who knows who, it's like who comes from what sort of school of makeup and that kind of thing, special effects and those kinds of things. So, I'll look it up real quick while we're talking. Go on to the next scene here while I look it up.
Well, do you want to talk about the Dance of the Three Snakes now?
Oh, good dear Lord.
It's a frog on a throne. Don't you want to be the badass frog on the throne, Pops?
I couldn't remember the throne scene, like I said, and they give us enough moments that this is going to get really creepy and awkward. The Dance of the Three Snakes, and his little crotch, his little loincloth starts moving around a little bit, and her eyes start zeroing in, and then they have like, okay, I'm ready for you, baby, and you're like, no, whoa, I don't, what, okay, Loki, what has he done? What has he done to me? Oh dear Lord! I was having a little bit of a panic attack. I will perfectly admit it. So
those shark movies aren't looking too bad now, are they?
No, they're still
This
bad.
is still better than the shark movies.
This film okay, I'm beating the same drum, guy. I'm sorry, but this film knows what it is. The shark movies want to pretend. They're bait and switching me. Most of the time they've been bait and switches, right? They've been bait and switch. They try to pretend. They spent more than 12 grand on their movie poster. Because when I watch that movie, I'm like, oh, that's pretty much the whole budget right there on that movie poster, because it isn't in this movie.
I've got another photo here of Pops' reaction to this movie.
Probably. Eat lead, froggies. Yes. I actually love this part. I was having a blast. Again, I was having fun. And that was the biggest key to watching this movie. I remembered pieces of it. And then I knew it was on Tubi. I know I had started watching it a couple of months after Loki brought this up. I don't know when that was. It was early in this year because I wrote it down. And I had it playing in the background or something like that, but I got tied up into something else. I remember seeing the intro part. And then at the end with all the fights and stuff like that, I was all in on having fun. That's for sure. Yeah. It's only an hour and a half, by the way. For those of you asking, only an hour and a half.
As I said in chat, this is a movie worth wasting a couple hours on.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it's only an hour and a half, so it's even shorter than 2 hours. So, yeah, Cope, it's just crazy, silly, cheesy fun of the 80s. Like, it knows what it is, and it creates a little world. And I got to be honest, this would be a fun... Okay, maybe I can get Loki excited. It would be fun to write a sequel comic book. I wouldn't want to mess with the legacy of its film, whatever, but it would be fun to write a comic book story or something like that.
Graphic novel. Do
Yeah,
a
yeah, well, that's
graphic
what I mean.
novel,
But
yeah.
I hate graphic novel. The problem is I only have like 50 to 100 pages. I would like to write like a 6-part mini series or something where I can really spin my wheels a little bit on this universe a little bit more and stuff like that. Get Roddy
All we
Piper
gotta do is
leaving another trail of pregnant women in his wake.
all we gotta do is just go write the Toad Warrior.
Toad Warrior, huh? Yeah, I don't know. That would be maybe that would be part of the sequel. It would be Sam Hell : Toad Warrior. Maybe. Huh. All right.
They set it up pretty well for like having like the souped up vehicles with this because like they're just running around in a Jeep with like a cannon built into it.
Yeah. Well, she had a great line in that scene you had just up there. Eat dirt or eat lead. And it was like they just dropped to the ground. It's so good. She was really fun. I liked her character a lot. She was a lot of fun in this role.
Yeah.
Who said we don't have tough girls? What's that?
Yeah. Yeah. A kick-ass chick that doesn't put up with crap and has a nice skin, Bobs. She's got nice skin, I've got to say. Anyway.
Well, again, I'm a child of the 80s, so it was a common thing for them to do that for us as children, and we probably shouldn't have been watching some of it, but we did.
Huh.
Many of VHS tapes were ruined thanks to my generation.
I just noticed this here, like even the driver has frog makeup on.
Yeah, they took their world serious. Like it limited money, limited mask, limited resources. But I got to be honest, look at even the design of the vehicle. They went out of their way to come up with something that was different and interesting, right? This is not some cheesy CGI Halo looking vehicle or something. It just everything about this film was they had to come up with something creative. Like, oh, it can't look like a real car. It has to be this or has to be that or whatever. So yeah.
They even went the extra step of like removing the windshield and replacing it with like a bit of sheet metal with a hole cut into it. This thing for the cannon. It's like, yeah, that feels believable in this world. They would have done that for some amount of protection.
Yeah, like you guys were saying, like Mad Max, right? It definitely feels like that post-apocalyptic world that they're trying to piggyback on. Yeah, agreed. So, Melvin Deeply is out there. He's cutting up a little bit with Copus. That's always fun. Hey, Melvin. Hope you're doing all right, brother. Didn't care for this design up close. Like it was better in the dark. Up close, yeah, I didn't care for the Mercedes spin necklace and the furry collar.
It's the 80s.
Once it got up close, I was like, ooh, all right, okay. It was better in the shadows and the water and all that. So, but it's okay. We had a good time. They literally have like car parts and stuff everywhere. It's like literally like headlight car parts and stuff. I'm like, what is happening?
I just noticed that like in the dark close up, he still has the frill on, but you don't notice it.
Like I said, it didn't. This shot and these scenes actually held up better. And then of course when you're in the daylight and whatever, it's like, oh yeah, I see what I'm working with. And if you've been on a set, that's what it's like. You're on a set and you see this vehicle shot with these guys in this car and whatever. You're like, oh God, what kind of travesty is this film going to be? Oh my God, we're throwing away our money. And you see it, they got stuff's in the dark and whatever. And you're like, oh, all right, I had a good time. It's fun. I didn't even look to see. Did it actually go to a box office? Did it actually make any money? I literally don't even remember it.
I'm 99% sure it was like right to VHS, but
to be fair, that's about right where this movie deserves to be.
Yeah, I don't know. I would have thought it was a VHS. Made it for $1.5 million. Okay. Oh, the fact that all the women are there in their little bikinis and stuff and
nightgowns.
Yeah, they're in their 90s and they're rather nipply. This one was great. Makes me laugh. There's some sequels, but awful apparently. Oh, I didn't know there were sequels. Loki, are there sequels?
I didn't know there were sequels.
Huh.
I think I heard of at least one.
How it comes to Quahog? That's in
Oh, Toad
oh.
Warrior. There is a sequel called Toad Warrior. Wow. Ironcaster on the nose, brother. 2 sequels. Return to Frogtown and Toad Warrior. Oh, it's a little too on the nose for me, but I got it. Look at that silly, cheesy 80s. Oh, that's great.
Max
So that's-
Hell Frog Warrior.
Yeah. Well, I guess our graphic novel idea probably won't fly, but I might still be able to do Hell Comes to Popstown.
Yeah, it just turns into the Soda Wars.
Oh, geez, Luis, we're not calling back to more soda conversation. So
I thought I'd pop us back to that.
and then popping right back, huh? From the very first ribbit to that, I see how we're gonna do. This shot actually made me laugh. I actually have to be honest. This actually made me laugh because because she makes a comment about he's still got to do his job, and he turns and he looks at all them who are like, "Oh yeah," and he's like, "Oh man, that's what you mean," And I will say, and maybe this is part of what makes it fun, Loki. You speak to this better, right? It almost is like self-deprecating with his approach. He doesn't spend most of his time in the film like, "Oh yeah, line them up, ladies." He spends most of his time like, "Oh my God, it's all you guys want me for? Oh, I'm going to be exhausted." He doesn't spend most of his time like, "Let's do it."
Well, also they're like, come on, hurry up, get the job done. And he's like, well, I don't even know the chick, man. It's not like he's just a pervert.
Here we go.
And,
There was his expression.
Yep, there's his face. Yeah.
and Roddy Piper isn't in any of the sequels, by the way. That's probably why I didn't know there was any sequels. Yeah. And they had a budget of like $200,000. So, yeah.
Return to Frogtown. Yeah, okay. Toad Warrior. Got it. Huh. Interesting.
Gotta go down this frog hole now.
We are definitely down a frog hole with this film for sure. So I know what everybody wants to know. Do you think they did it on the set?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. He was known for his
Shenanigans had to be afoot, right?
shenanigan and philandering ways.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he's so famous, and he's this big. He's big dude. He's 6'2". He's muscular. He's obviously a blast to be around. Like, I don't even know how much of this is acting. It was like just be Roddy Piper doing scenes. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Sam Hell is a muscle-bound combination of wise guy, cool, and deadly force. In Hell Comes to Frogtown.
It's so great. That is so great. We'll have to do some special voiceover stuff this one time. That'd be kind of fun. So
He's got skin.
it's Loki's thing. He just keeps going back to that. It's so funny. Some of the quotes. There's a good quote we could do. All right. So what's some of the look again? You talked about how you hadn't watched this in a long time. What was one of your big takeaways? How nostalgic and stuff did this feel?
How very 80s of them. It screams 80s. It's an 80s movie. You're not supposed to take it uber seriously. It's another of the after the war, Road Warrior, and all these other movies that were doing it at the time. It's very much like that. Just have fun with it. Enjoy it for what it is. Watch it for what it is, and try not to take it so seriously. And it's not one of those films you're like, oh, I barely got through it. Sitting there and I was like, Loki, you betrayed me. You betrayed me, and you've got me watching this horror. No, sit back and laugh and enjoy it and take it for what it is, and you'll have a fun time. It's a lot like Robot Jocks in that way. You can't take Robot Jocks super seriously either. You just got to kind of sit back and enjoy it for what it is.
I'm finding some posters.
I can't believe that one. Oh man, that's so ridiculous.
Wow.
Fortunately, that image is not in this film because that would have really been a hard one for me. That's more disturbing than anything in the film, just so we're completely clear.
Aren't you glad I waited to show you this?
Here's one of my favorite quotes, which is great. Sam says, "You try making love in a complete strange." Okay, sorry, I messed it up. You try making love to a complete stranger in a hostile mutant environment and see how you like it. It's the best. That's the best. Oh.
I brought this up. I'm briefly mentioned this earlier, and I'm trying to find the exact quote they used. But there was a commercial on USA, and they used to play this movie all the time on something called USA Up All Night. Right? This was for the people that were up all night, that had insomnia, that watched crazy B movies in the middle of the night. And it was like, stay up with Sam Hell. Get it? Stay up with Sam Hell on USA's Up All Night with Hell Comes to Frogtown. And they come up with these weird advertisements, these weird commercials in the middle of the night for this movie. Because whoever was up at 1 o'clock in the morning getting ready to watch this absolutely had to have a commercial like that to stay there. Whoever you were, whether you were, hitting the ganja or whatever, you had to have something funny to hear and something funny to watch. And they would throw out these horrible commercials that would have say stuff like that right before these movies.
But that was a very 80s thing. So I've had a hard time finding them in decent quality because I was trying to use some. And I did use the one little spinny thing you guys have seen on my Popspective. But they used to have these AMC theater intros with the Midnight Movie Madness Express. It was like a train thing. People had masks and zombies and all this other stuff. You can't find them in good quality. So this shtick from the late 80s to the early 90s was very, very common, especially with the stuff that we watched very late. So, yeah.
Oh yeah, especially when you got around Halloween with like the Monster Vision stuff.
All right. Well, when you ask, we try to deliver around here. So we'll see what happens here. Let's try to bring this up.
Oh God. Yeah.
All right.
Huh.
Hello, I'm Gilbert Godfrey.
Oh man, they had Gilbert on.
Yeah.
I wish I had seen this before. I would have included this in our credits.
But you knew that. Anyway, I'm the last fertile nuts here. Anyway, in this next part of the work cut out for me, because without me, the earth stops here. Anyway, in this next part of Hell Comes to Frogtown, Roddy Piper really gets alarmed by his high-tech huggies.
Okay, so this is literally like a commercial break bumper. Okay, got it. Okay.
Can soothe the savage beast. That's coming up in this next part of Hell Comes to Frogtown.
Oh, that's so fun.
USA Up All Night. Yeah.
All right, let's see what happens. Oh, they did a whole series of them with it.
They did a whole thing. Yeah, they do a whole thing of them.
Oh, no way.
57 the park. Oh, I forgot to.
So somebody just gets in with him and they do Up All Night that way.
More
Let's
people
get
get
another person in.
Are you guys hungry?
Yeah, they totally got in a car and did all this.
Well, in this next part of the movie, Roddy discovers someone who looks like Jabba the Hutt.
Gilbert Godfrey doing
And an anorexic version, plus wearing a fez as well.
Oh, there's our Fez reference. So that's where we are in the movie. Okay, fair enough.
Boy.
All right.
It sounds like Gilbert has a frog in his throat.
Yeah, well, he might be a little green from riding around like this.
the last fertile man in the world. And being the last fertile man, I don't always have time to do my banking during normal hours. That's why I have an account at First Fertility Bank. At First Fertility...
Wow. Wow.
Make my deposit direct deposit.
Scott is here. Hey, brother. Hope you're doing well. Roddy Piper, as far as we know, never cheated on his wife, whom he married in like 1980. Nailing Chick was part of his wrestling kayfabe. Okay. All right. Fair enough. Gilbert makes sense. Yeah. Greedo in a Speedo. Oh, you need a laugh. Greedo's a channel for you with his shorts. It's the best. It makes me smile. Greedo, I need to like steal some of those footage. So just include pieces of things and little bits and stuff just because they just make me laugh. So USA One had a lot of BNC movies, heavily censored erotica. Yeah. And he talked about watching a lot of that kind of stuff. So get it. All right.
Bank with their 24-hour machines, I can make withdrawals and deposits any time of the day or night. Yes, at a time like this where spontaneity counts, you hate to get caught with your pants down.
Gilbert Godfrey, 100 first fertility sperm bank. Because you don't want to get caught with your pants down.
Gilbert Godfrey.
Oh, dear Lord. Oh, dear Lord. Jacob, what a time for you to walk in, huh? Oh, I don't know what I need, brother. I just get wild hair. Who knows? So, let's see where we're at. Now, what's he do now?
Well, it looks like Roddy Piper has his work lined up for him in Hell Comes to Frogtown because he's got to repopulate the earth.
Oh, it's so much fun.
And you know what? I can see him being like, why do I have to do this shit? Why do I have to do this stuff at the end of it? Like when the camera cuts up, what do you have me doing? Where's my agent? What are you doing to me?
Get Eugene on the phone. He's fired.
Oh my
Holy
God.
fuck, this movie's terrible. I can't believe my agent got me on this.
Oh, trust me, he never watched the movie. He was just reading bits, things like that.
Yeah.
They didn't watch the movie. These people don't watch anything like that. They're such hypocrites. It's nuts. Oh, that's great, though. You know, it's funny that you just remembered it and were able to find a blurb like something's out there. The internet makes things small, my friend.
Like
Brings
I
the
said,
world together.
we watched this movie all the time. You know, when we were young teenagers. It wasn't until I was 16 that I bought it. So we had watched it. Man, there were summers we were up, you know, at thinking we're cool, 12 years old, up at midnight, drinking coffee, gonna stay up all night, hanging out, getting into trouble, doing whatever. And we'd watched this movie multiple times. So we'd seen it, you know, we'd seen it on USA, we'd seen it on cable. And we gotta get that. We gotta get that skin version, pops, the VHS. Gotta get it.
Oh,
uncut.
VHS. They put the VHS in, the next thing you know, it's like he's in a sleeping bag, and then it goes. You're like, oh, this video has been paused too many times. Mm-hmm. I know what you people
I
are
know
like.
what they were doing here.
Yeah, I see what happened here. Oh, brother, this film was something. I had a good time, and you know what? If you it's on Tubi, so it's free. You can just think about the absurdity of it all and just kind of laugh along the process. And for me, I can find some of the creative whims in a film like this that I don't find in the modern stuff. So, and I'll be honest, I felt like they took it serious. Like they were trying to write a story in their little world that makes sense in their little world. And I watch other shows where I'm like, oh, they contradict themselves 20 minutes ago. Like, oh, geez. Ironcaster, some last thoughts on the film itself.
It's a bit of a turn your brain off and just shut up and enjoy a film, because why would they have such a valuable man being the one to go in and try to save the women? Once you start really trying to piece it out and try to figure, well, wait a minute, it falls apart. It'll turn to like sand in your hands. Just enjoy it. It's silly. We want to be able to have a protagonist in these situations, like doing wrestling moves on Dudes and Frog Mask.
Yeah. Again, one's wearing a fez, one's wearing an eye patch. I know what to tell you. Why is there not like a line of these action figures? I mean, this literally seems like a strange film. Like, it's so off kilter. I'm shocked it doesn't have a bigger culty fan base. It just, I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm missing it. Maybe there's like a whole bunch of froggies out there. You're all about it. I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something. So Loki's my first Hell Comes to Frogtown major fan that I've met. So,
And I haven't watched the movie in forever. So I'm
I'm
sure there are action figures. I'm
I'm
pretty
watching
sure
this.
there are action figures.
I wound up watching this about a year or so ago with like memes of destruction, and a few other people. So this is like the second time I've done a YouTube kind of talk about it.
Yeah, there's frogs and there's Sam Hell, and they've got all kinds of stuff. They've got action figures and stuff.
Ooh. Ooh. I just found a behind the scenes photo here. As I'm kind of like looking up some stuff up on the Twitter.
oh wow,
Nice.
that's a lot more dynamic than I expected, to be perfectly honest. I mean, I literally thought we were going to have like a cantina mask that was doctored. That looks like an actual mold and paint job they actually did. So, interesting.
Well, you get $12,000 put a mask together.
It's true. That is true. Interesting. So yeah, look, it's on Tubi. It's free. It's fun. It's goofy and silly, and yet at the same time, it has a consistency that I think makes it enjoyable every time you watch it. And I will say, like I said, the progression of seeing Roddy Piper, I think, is also part of what makes it made it joyful for me. Like, I'm like, oh, I like this. This is fun. So, and again, like you guys were saying with the Conan movie, seeing her, you see little elements and things like that. It's great. So, Keely Chow, you're coming in here as we're wrapping up our conversation about Hell Comes to Frogtown, a Roddy Piper classic action. So, this is one of the photos that I found, which I thought was great. I don't know what cover this is. I just saw this and thought, oh man, talk about just a lot of fun. It's some sort of Blu-ray. I don't know what you guys know what this is?
Oh, I think this might have been the one I was talking about from Vinegar Syndrome.
That
or maybe
is
Arrow video.
That is Arrow.
Arrow on it.
Yep, that is Arrow video. So you can probably get it through Amazon, but yeah, that's not something that was like, widely available in the US.
That is funny though. Cool cover. Look at all the women highlighted in that image. That's funny. Yeah.
It's a cover that screams like YouTube thumbnail.
Oh yeah. Like that. Definitely could be a fun one to repurpose into that for sure. So yeah, this would be a good one. It was a good one. So again, fun ride. Thanks, Loki, for making me feel a lot of emotions. I was uncomfortable at times. I felt awkward. I laughed. I cringed a couple times. It was a nice emotional roller coaster for me. It's good. Good for my spirit.
Good. It's one of those movies.
Yeah.
I'm gonna miss you guys. 2 weeks. I'm gonna be gone for 2 weeks. So I'm gonna miss you guys the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, we're gonna be rooting for you though, taking the walk, taking the vows. It's gonna be awesome. Everything goes according to schedule. We'll be able to break bread and meet face to face. So stay alert there for that, folks. Hopefully that'll work itself out as he heads down here to the south. So
there might be a picture going out on Twitter with me and Pops. So
who knows? We can either confirm or deny the location or the validity of said photos, paparazzi and all. Who knows? Mm-hmm. But no, it's going to be fun. And it'll be great to hear some of the stories about the adventure and things like that. Enjoying your time and your life changes. Been thinking and praying for you, folks. It's great to see it come. And folks, it's a blast to be able to do this. It's great to be able to be friends and get to know one another, and they would sit around and we could talk nerdy like this. It's a blast. So
what it's all about. That is what it's all about, guys.
Yeah, really is. Next week will be Beetlejuice. We don't have a second guest lined up here yet, so Ironcaster and I will be riding solo until we have somebody else. So if you want to volunteer, folks, hit me up for on Twitter. If you want to come in and talk Beetlejuice with us next week, we'd be more happy to at least consider that. We don't have a guest, but we would open the door. Beetlejuice is loved it from the very moment I saw it. It's been part of my life this entire time it's been out. So 35 years.
Always said if I was going to do it, I'd do it once and then never do it again. I'll do it. Yeah. Here we go.
I wonder if my wife has pictures of me as Beetlejuice. I was a pretty good Beetlejuice in college. Yeah, wasn't bad. Yeah. I had long hair then. I had like Ironcaster hair. So make it green, go in all sorts of different directions. Yep. Beetlejuice, Scooby-Doo. We're going to do a little animation, do something fun, different for some Zombie Island. So that'd be kind of fun. Then Loki will be back. And we'll have him back for Christine and for Halloween 78. So we'll wrap up our October on some on Halloween night. And yes, I will. There was talk on Twitter. So if you aren't, I don't know what. So I get confused sometimes. So what is on our private DMs and what's not? But there's been talk about Ironcaster and the shark mask. If I had a shark head, I'd wear a shark head. But who knows what you'll see? Maybe we'll be in costume. Who knows? Can't promise. Yes, well, everybody should like Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice is great. So.
My biggest thing for Beetlejuice was the cartoon. That was the thing that I was most exposed to with the character.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, makes sense. I enjoyed the cartoon.
Did I show you guys the wedding present Eris got me?
No. Is it a shark?
Give me just a second. No, it is not a shark. She's not marrying you. She's marrying me.
Did you? Do you have that present I sent you? I threw in your box.
The pack
small item.
Yes, yeah. I do. Give me just a minute. Let me go grab that. I'll be right back.
All right. We should do the animated episode of Supernatural where they met Scooby-Doo again. Yeah, it's a great episode. I may do a little bit of the video on that or something like that, Matt, if I can fit it in. So while he's doing that, Ironcaster, go ahead. What were you going to say? Go ahead.
I was saying I've really not watched much at all of Supernatural. So I think I watched the first season and I kind of fell off.
Yeah, that's all I have done as well. But I don't think you have to watch the show to enjoy the Scooby-Doo episode. You have enough context to enjoy that episode. So. Loki's getting stuff together. What's going on with you, my friend? What's the latest on some of your shows and appearances and different things that you're working on?
Here in about an hour or so, I'll be on with T-Shirt Historian for our sort of little midweek in Geek, where we'll be sitting down with Max Liao of Legion of Myth, where we'll be talking tabletop.
Very cool. Very cool. It's a lot of fun. Glad you guys are doing that. Really am.
Yep. Yeah,
it's good.
It's I can't talk. It's that kind of usual weekly thing. I'm like, I'll just hang out with you guys like Sunday, and I miss you already.
Yeah, no, it's fun to do this because you end up, and I think that's one of the harder things of having a couple of weeks where I wasn't able to do this. And then when you're going through other stress and anxiety, different things that are happening, it's like, oh man, I just want to chill out with my guys. I want to just talk comic books. I want to rant around this show or whatever. And it's like, yeah, it's one of those things where at some point when I have better streaming access at home and things like that, it'd just be me turning on a live stream and just me emotionally word vomiting. So, all right, we are now behind. There it is.
There it is. I have not opened it yet. It is not opened. That is what Pops sent me along with some comics that he was getting rid of. So some ABP Aliens comics. I do have that number one. I had the number one and the number two with that Aliens comic book set. So yeah. I've got the whole series. Thank you.
Cool.
For that.
Yeah, so, that's an original wax pack from the movie.
Yeah. And it's got gum in it. I can feel it's got gum. I will not be chewing the gum. There will be no Padawannabe challenge from Loki. Loki does not want to chew glass gum. So let me get this giant thing up here.
But Loki, it's full of preservatives.
So this is the wedding present that I got from Eris. So it is the Val Kilmer, Doc Holliday. We just did Tombstone the other day. It is signed. It is authentic. He signed his name, and then below that he says, "I have 2 guns, one for each of you," which he says in that scene. There is a signed JSA.
JSA, yeah.
Oh,
JSA
yeah.
is one of the premier authenticity companies out there for sure.
So it is authentic. I have
Very
no
nice.
idea what she paid for that because she's not telling me.
We don't even know.
But I was completely blown away when I opened that. I did not expect that. So wonderful present from Eris for the wedding.
Loki, Chris says that you should have Eris do the Padawannabe challenge. So
That's not a bad idea. Yeah. Okay. I will see if we can get that done.
we'll have her maybe after she's Mrs. Valhalla. She can come on up in here sometime. Maybe we'll do that. It'd be awesome. Have her just join us. So yeah, lots of love for that. Lots of love for that for sure. So
it just made me think we were doing Tombstone. We just did Tombstone.
Yeah.
Not, and yeah. So I absolutely love that.
Yeah, there'll be some best of and some different things that are going on here while Loki goes off. Mike will be filling in at least for the second half of that vacation. But yeah, make sure you're taking all that in stride there, my friend. What's going on tomorrow? Tomorrow's YouTube talk and some different things going on the rest of this week.
Tomorrow's YouTube talk, we're going to talk about demonetization and does it matter? Does demonetization matter? Is it important to you? It is something, and it's one of those be honest deals because there's nothing wrong with saying yes, monetization matters. It's the people that say no, absolutely not. I absolutely detest monetization, and then they're counting the days to when they can reapply to get monetized, and you're like, yeah, I don't think so. You can try not to make a big deal out of it, but so we're going to go over that Thursday. I have no idea what we're going to do for Thirsty Thursday. I know Friday we've got some more Lord of the Rings news that nobody knows about. So we'll be talking about that with Arwen because I love springing the Lord of the Rings news on Arwen and watching her have an absolute, fit over whatever Amazon's going to do to Lord of the Rings. I just love her reactions to that. I know Dega next week, Dega Outlaw is going to be taking over a show or two. We might only have one best of. I don't know yet. So I'll know closer to the beginning of next week. And Mike's going to do a lot of stuff. Mike's going to have a lot of people on the week I'm gone. So you're going to have Culture Casino. You're going to have Tom from Midnight's Edge. You're going to have George Mulhole, George the Giant Slayer. There's going to be a lot of real good guests on the show. A week from next week.
Are we going to get snowed up?
We might even get snowed up in El Perro. I don't know. That is definitely a possibility to get snowed up in El Perro on the show. So maybe not. We'll have to see.
And Zach's happy for you, my friend, being remonetized after 90 days. So congratulations, my friend. Glad that worked out for you.
And Zach, I know you worked really hard to do that. And that's been, you've always been upfront, and it takes a lot of effort and a lot of work to do what you did. So you should be proud of yourself. Big pat on the back for you, brother.
Yeah, I think one of the hardest things is because it gets all lumped together, right? So when you get monetized, you also have opportunities to have memberships and things like that. So when you get demonetized, they take that part away as well. So people can't choose to support you and things like that. So I think if those were two separate things, like if you were penalized for a content violation or something like that, but you're allowed to have membership things and things like that. But when you have anything and it's like taken away from you, even if you've made a mistake, even if you've made an honest mistake, just a painful process. Even if it doesn't matter that much to you, the fact that something's been taken away from you or you lose something, I think that is probably the one thing I would like to see people at least try to own better. It's like be a little bit more honest about the fact that it hurts. I got to give Justin Has Lost a lot of credit because he, ended up in into the crosshairs, had everything taken away in a moment's notice, and was like, crap, I was ready to quit my job and do this full time. So somebody who just really has been out front talking about that process, like Zach's had, and it's something that needs to be talked about. So I'm glad you're doing that. So Mel was taking off, things like that. Yeah, we all got to get ready to come back in a little bit to hang out with Ironcaster and T-Shirt Historian and enjoy their show in a little bit. So, folks, listen, I can't thank you guys enough for hanging out with us, talking hard. Appreciate it so much every week. Loki, thanks for the recommend. Enjoy your 2 weeks hiatus from the talking of the hard. I appreciate that very much. Ironcaster, my friend, Beetlejuice. And we'll be back next week, and we'll see who gets join us. If you want to join us for that, just make sure you hit me up on Twitter. See if we can figure that out. Maybe you could be our third guest. So anyway, folks, you guys take care. Make tomorrow a little bit better than today. Go out there, have some fun. I made this video just for this, so we're going to go ahead and play that intro as an outro, just for those of you who might have missed it.
Clobber time!
Consider the profound emotional experience of a truly great film. Then forget it, sweetheart.
It's the end of the 20th century, and mankind has blown its wad.
We're going to Frogtown.
Hell comes to Frogtown.